What's up, everybody? This is Miko the Entrepreneur, and I am here with Mark. Mark is someone that I met at the Pod Fest that just happened here in Orlando. And what's so funny about this, we're going to get into, little things about Mark, but I kept going by his table, talking to him. And then I found out that he was a real cool person to get to know. But before we go into the interview, uh, let me talk about my sponsor, Streamyard. So, if you are a content creator, podcaster, YouTube creator, you use Streamyard to do your lives, you record in Streamyard. Um, I've used other streaming platforms and I like Streamyard. Streamyard is user friendly. Uh, you can be able to do different things in StreamYard. You can record, you can go live, you can go live on different platforms. So if you're interested in using StreamYard, click on the link below in the description. You can start for free, and then you'll have your plan. All right. So Mark, back to you.
Right on, right on. Thanks for having me, Miko.
So what attracted me to you was the books. So you are a self-published author. I'm a self-published author. And so I was kind of talking to you about the books and like how I get started and all this other stuff. And so what I liked about you, and I'm just being honest, I know sometimes when we're at a pod fest or at an event or something like that, we're trying to sell. Now, don't get me wrong. You did have all your books, out front and you explained to me what it was, but I didn't feel like you were trying to sell me something. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't feel that. So I talk to my audience and let them know that, what you do, how you set up your events, and how you get that self-published author who never knew anything about trying to publish a book. How would they go about going with you?
Sure, absolutely. And to take it back a little bit to your first comment about coming by the booth and like I was sensing like, who is this? She's sizing me up, like trying to figure out what this is all about. And you were almost like fishing for a sales pitch. I feel like, and I got to tell you, one of the reasons that I absolutely love books is because it completely avoids having to be a salesperson. So that's why I love books, because they're really for the non-salesperson, in my opinion. Sales is a weird thing because, you're born as a natural salesperson, right? You're selling your parents on everything your entire growing up in your childhood, right? You know how to sell already from when you're a baby. And then we either unlearn that stuff or we start going about it the wrong way, or we pick up the bad habits of what the kids nag you to do. And that's like what real, like the icky salesmanship is like. So I was always like, not a natural born salesperson, but, as an entrepreneur, and when you start your own business, you're kind of thrown into it. You're forced to become a salesperson for what you are and what you do. So I've spent so much time doing it like the wrong way growing up that I recognize that we are like, to sell your business, you are essentially nothing more than a professional explainer. And so that's all I do. I either explain and I educate. So maybe that's what came across, because I wasn't trying to sell you anything. I was trying to find out if you had a problem that you needed to solve, or if there was some destination you wanted to get to. And I wanted to see if a book was the right solution for that. So that's what I was fishing for. And it was funny. But so
because I
now I
kept
know you were
coming
like
back.
fishing for a sales pitch or something. Is that what it is? Because I could sense you were going to like maybe the other publishers' tables to see what their pitch was. And then you'd stop by mine to see what my pitch was. And I'm like, what do you want to do? Do you, do you want to get speaking engagements? Are you a coach? So
Because
I look, so to answer your question also about for what people need to do if they really want to, succeed in business, it's like find a problem that you really specialize in solving.
right. Well, I keep laughing because I don't know if you remember, but it was when I left the table and I came back and I didn't see you there. And I said, "Oh, what happened to you?" And I
What
was
did
like,
you
"Oh,
think?
maybe he left." I was like, "Maybe he left for the day," because it was
Yeah.
covered. And you said no, you had to do something. You came back. It was funny because I kept walking around and I would
Mhm.
end up at your table.
I
It was
I
just, I
have to
don't know, it
cover
was
the
just
table
funny.
because if I have to go use the restroom or something and I leave the table, the books as you saw,
Mhm.
people grab them and they take them. Like they'll take the
Right.
covers that they like, So one of our most stolen books is
Oh, wow.
one of my authors. See, they love everybody grabs this title because they're like, hey, this makes a great client gift. So our
Right.
author Adam Marburger wants to give this book away, and if I look away, this book will be gone. So,
Wow. Oh,
or they look
okay.
for cover ideas for their own books, and then they're looking at ours. It's one of the things we really pride ourselves on is the design of the book of the covers, because as you saw,
Mhm.
that's what draws people to it to either want to pick it up, and that's the job of the cover to see if they get them to read the headline or the
Mhm.
title.
So I know when I first started as a self-published author, I thought it was overwhelming. And so as an author, how can you like is it difficult to get started as a self-publisher? Like I said, it was overwhelming, but I think because I went through a different way, I guess. It was just everything was laid out. I just had to download the software and then edit, within.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take us through the steps of like how you get someone started being a self-published?
Yeah, absolutely. Like what I help clients do is we do a strategy session, and in that strategy session, we really have to map out, as I mentioned earlier, what's the problem that you solve, and most specifically, who do you solve that problem for? And that essentially that is going to telegraph a lot of things for you. It'll telegraph the title of your book so that the title telegraphs what it is that you do, and you also have to kind of link that to what is your brand. So you think that through as well, something you want to be known for. And then once we understand, it's the 3 P's to publishing, and the first P is position. So that's why I say, what do you solve and who do you solve it for? And that's how you position yourself in that. And then what I help them do is create that outline for that perfect book. And the outline really, if you there's a few different ways to get to the outline of your book, but
Mhm.
an easy way to think about it is if you already sell a service, say face to face, kneecap to kneecap with a prospect, and you meet over the phone or in person, you're typically taking them through a sales presentation already. Have you considered that sales presentation is already mapped out for you? And perhaps that could make a good outline for your book, because a book is nothing more than salesmanship in print. All you're really
Mm.
doing is salesmanship in print, and you're explaining your process. And if you do it, and if you have already found a way because you've been doing it a long time, and a lot of my clients are attorneys and financial advisors, they've already been doing it for a long time. They do know those steps and they do know those processes. And doing a book with us is oftentimes is an exercise for them. And it's like one of the first times that they actually put it down on paper in an organized fashion. I call that memorialize your magic. Memorialize your magic into your book. Oftentimes you'll see folks that sell from the stage. They do speaking engagements, for example. That's already a form of salesmanship. If you essentially like put that stage presentation into print, you've already got an outline. You might have a PowerPoint that you've laid out. You can create outlines from that PowerPoint. So this is how I sort of guide my clients into not overthinking it. And to your point, it can be overwhelming if you think of it as more than what it really is. And the good news that I like to share with people is it shouldn't be complicated and long. That's not what you want to do. Complexity scares people away. You actually want to break it down and simplify your methods. You simplify it into the book and you give them that 10,000 foot view. I say give it all away, share all the knowledge, don't overdo it, but share the knowledge. But you don't need to go into the nitty gritty minutia or the details. That's something that they'll get from you when they decide to engage your services or work with you. You're using that book as a tool to bring people into your programs because you're not going to save the world within your pages. It's the help that you give them once they connect with you, whether it's through coaching or through your services, that's really going to be the game changer for those people. So that's really what I want to express to folks, is that not to overcomplicate it in your head. If you really think about the problem that you solve, who you solve it for, and what's the process you take people through that could be laid out into an outline for a book. I hope I explained that okay.
No, you did. So the process, how from beginning to end, is it months? Is it years? Or it just depends on the person to get the book completed?
We have a couple of different programs. There are smaller books. Like some businesses don't require a lengthy book in order to explain their process. Like, for example, a dentist office that has like different types of procedures from cosmetic dentistry to braces. They can have actually just pocket books that are smaller size for each specialty. These kinds of books can be crafted with just a couple of hours of the doctor's time working with us in an interview fashion, and our writing team puts their words, their ideas into professional writing for them. So this could be done in just a few hours, and the whole book can be done within 30 days, published and printed.
Oh, wow.
There are other books, like our most popular programs are our signature books. So when I gave you a copy of mine, Books Grow Business. So this is around a 33,000 word book. And this was crafted in about 60 to 90 days. So I practice what I preach. And through my process, I worked with my writing team to interview the chapters. And I essentially dictated each of the chapters in this book. And my writing team turned my ideas, my thoughts, my stories, and my examples. I could be as sloppy and messy as I need to be. And they're going to clean it up for me because what I want to express to people, that a big hang up for a lot of folks is they're like, oh, I'm not a writer, but you're an author because you're the author of your ideas, your concepts, your creativity. Nobody expected you to be a professional writer that can spell and do all the grammar and all of that. Nobody expects that. That's a totally different career. If you're an
editor,
yes, if you're an attorney, if you're whatever profession you're in, you just know your system, and that's what makes you an author. So you leave the professional writing to the writers. So I practice what I preach. This was done in about 60 to 90 days. We do the same process for Adam Marburger for his book. Another coach of ours, Fletcher Ellingson. He's a performance and personal development coach. Same process. It's an interview process, 60 to 90 days, the book's done. Exit planning advisor, Jane McQuillan, The Value Journey.
Oh, wow.
That's another thing we help people with, is their brand. Because what I love about books is books are your brand. Think of everybody you know. Tony Robbins, who is he? He's the personal power guy. You know people from
Right.
the titles of their books. So that's like that's like finally a tangible way for somebody to understand you without you even saying a word. Just hand them a signed copy of your book.
Wow. Okay. So I always wanted to ask you this. How do you feel about ghostwriting? So do you work with ghostwriters, or are you rather for the information to come from that author?
I'm glad you said it that way, because there's misconception around the term ghostwriter, and there's a lot of baggage to the word ghostwriter, because some business owners are used to hiring ghostwriters to perhaps write blog articles for their SEO, for example, or articles for their blog, in which the ghostwriter is actually doing their own research without the owner, and they're finding content or creating content. Maybe the owner's double checking it, fact checking it, or whatever, or maybe they're just posting it, right? So what I don't like about the term ghostwriting is that it makes people think, and I've run across this with some clients that mistakenly expect us to come up with the content for them. And I find that to be disingenuous, and that's not something that we do. I work with professionals to author their expertise. So I'm like, you're the expert. We're your writing team. We're your writers, but I need to get the ideas out of your head. I'm not going to do your homework for you. If this is your expertise, you should know this stuff cold. Like, I should be able to wake you up from a dead sleep and you can tell me how to do what you do. And it shouldn't require a whole heck of a lot of research. I mean, occasionally, yeah, when you want to support something with some facts, maybe you could look up some statistics, and we have place markers for that. But that minor research you need to support some of the things that you're expressing in your book is not a major part of it. Like, the ideas come from you. Your concepts are you. Everybody does things differently, which brings up a great point. How many books need to be written about a certain subject? That's another big misconception. People think, oh, too many people have written about that already. The world doesn't need another book about that. And I'm like, well, don't you want clients? Then people want to read your book. If they're thinking of hiring you, they don't want to read the guy who invented chiropractic or whatever. They want to read your book on it and your thoughts, your experiences, your concepts, because we've all had different upbringings and different experiences in our lives and different combinations of mentors. So you have your own methodology, and you're just wasting it by not memorializing it and giving it a name.
Right. Wow. Okay. So one more thing. Ebook or print? I know that you have people who are auditory, right? So they love to hear, something in their ear. And you have someone like me who I prefer print. I don't mind going through the pages, highlighting or underlining. That's me. Since you've been in this business and been doing this, like, what percentage of people do you still see using print books or purchasing print books?
That's a great topic, and it's a marketing question you just asked me, which I love. And for us and for our clients, 100% of my clients are going to do print as the number one priority. They're all going to have a Kindle also. They're all going to have an electronic version of their book, and they're going to have an audio book. But they're number one, they're going to have a print copy, because, the things you can't do. And maybe, think about your own behavior. How many digital things have you downloaded that you forgot about, that you forgot you had? Because you don't trip over your hard drive, you see, but you'll trip over my book if you left it around somewhere. And people don't throw away books either. It's almost like a weird thing to throw away a book. They're going to keep it on their bookshelf, on their desk. They're going to pass it along to somebody. And another thing you can't do with the digital copy is you can't do a book signing. So you need that physical copy to do a book signing. So this is like the tangible effect. It's also in marketing. We call this an anchor. It's an anchor. When you meet an author and they sign a copy, you're further anchoring their brand, their book, them that you met in their mind. And that's the number one thing in branding, is anchoring that to their mind. And the tangible, copy of the book is what does that. I also tell a story. Think about back in the, I grew up in the 80s and we had albums and vinyl. And, when you get that from an artist, the album artwork is hugely valuable. That's what we'd listen to the record and we'd be reading all the liner notes and everything. And when that all went to digital and everything got shrunk down to a thumbnail, think about what the artist lost in that connection with their fans and their audience.
Yes, I agree.
So, but the marketing question you asked me, though, I do recommend to have all formats, because yes, you're going to have people that do get their Kindles. I don't know why. I'm not a Kindle person, but there are people that do that. So you don't want to alienate them.
Right.
And there are also people, myself included, that like the audiobook version, because I like to have something, my headphones on, and when I'm running or at the gym, I'm a nerd. I'm listening to books and seminars and podcasts. I'm not listening to music. So you do want all of the mediums. And by the way, it's interesting because different medium attract different level of people. The podcast listener, as you know, skews a much higher average household income level, education level. It's inherent in the platform. So as a marketing lesson, different platforms attract different people, and you have to consider all of that when you think of your media mix.
Okay. So since we last saw each other, have you been to any other podfests in other cities?
Yeah, that was only a few weeks ago, so not yet. Not yet. I am set up to go to San Diego for the legal marketing event there, LMA, Legal Marketing Association. So we're going to share what we've done for divorce attorneys and publishing books for elder law attorneys at that event. So Podfest has been a great way for us to be exposed and to meet people from all different walks of life and different professions. A lot of times when we exhibit, we're in very specific niches. We're going to be coming up in May. We'll be in Louisville, Kentucky for the IBBA. And that's something that we do every year. And that's the International Business Brokers Association. So people that sell businesses. So I do like to do the specific niches that we focus on, but then we like to do Podfest so we can meet people from different types of businesses. And so that's always been exciting and refreshing.
Okay. Well, they already sent out the dates for next year, so I'll be there.
Right on. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be there as well.
One more question before we close out. Have you been to the Small Business Expo?
That's interesting you just asked that, because I was asking some colleagues of mine, because I know that there's one called the Business Expo. There's one, in Miami. Then they have one in...
it's going to be here.
There's one in Chicago. Yeah, you've got one.
The 21st
Florida.
of March.
Then you've got... it might be a different promoter, but there's one that does, like 4 different cities around the country. And I haven't been to one of those small business expos in a long time. And I am interested in exhibiting there. And you know what? Here's another point is you see that I like the physical books, and I like to meet people in person, because like how we met at the event. Right. That's something that you can't duplicate no matter how much money you put into Facebook ads or any social media ads, you're a weird internet person. There's a lot of, you're an internet cowboy. There's that level of trust that's not there, that you can't beat when you're like face to face.
Yes.
So in my opinion, that's worth its weight in gold. So I prefer to be in person with folks, and as you saw, give away copies of my book.
Well, March 21st, the Small Business Expo will be here in Orlando, and I will be there. And like I said, it's a free event. It's going to be at the Rosen Plaza Hotel. So just in case, if you're able to come here, yes, one-day event. So as we are closing out, I know the ticker is saying all of your information. So if you can close us out by letting people know how they can contact you and where to find you on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the best place to go is booksgrowbusiness.com. And while you're there, you're invited to, if you have an idea for a book, or if you're looking for an idea for a book, or if you want to even find out if a book is the right, vehicle for you to grow and scale your business, I'm happy to give you a complimentary signature book discovery session where we'll hop on a quick Zoom and I'll get to know a little bit about your business and your objectives and your goals, and see if and how I might be able to help you craft the perfect plan for the right type of book that you can scale your business with. And when you book that call with me, I'm going to be happy to send you a copy of my book, Books Grow Business. So this is my entire playbook on not just the creation and insider secrets about it, but also the marketing piece of how you use that book to grow your business, including things like the ethical Trojan horses, how to get into organizations with your book, how to create natural referral partners by mentioning them in your book, and lots of insider things that I help clients with. My whole playbook's in here because I'm an open book. And as I expressed to you, there's no selling with me. I'm just going to teach you, because when you do that and you genuinely help people, the clients naturally come because they see you as the person that can help them. That's why I say give it all away.
I agree.
So yeah, booksgrowbusiness.com is the best place to start, and you'll get all the rest of my contacts and my calendar there.
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure interviewing you. I'm glad that we were able to have this conversation. And I know once this air, by the time people will see it, you'll have more people reaching out to you. So other than that, did you want to say anything else before we close it out completely?
Want to say that I appreciate you, Miko, and thank you so much for inviting me. This has been terrific. I love talking books and marketing, and it's like talking shop to me. So any day, just anytime you want a topic on marketing or books, just hit me up. And thank you again so much.
Yeah, no problem. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for watching this video. Please share it. Please watch it from beginning to end. Reach out to Mark. If you're a self-published author and you want to go ahead and get started, he could do the rest. So reach out to him. His information will be in the description below. And I'll see you guys in the next interview.